record. Okay, Ernest J. Wilson III. Thank you so much, Ernest, for just chatting here for a few minutes. I've known you for many years. Appreciate you. Appreciate you coming in to talk. You're currently coaching here at Division III at a assistant head coach at Defiance College, but you and I knew each other from back at Allegheny, my first coaching job. I think it was your first coaching job as well. But why don't you tell, you've been all over the place, man, all at different levels, head coach, assistant coach, coordinators. Why don't you give just a quick rundown of some of the different experiences you've had? Because I think that's one of the things that you really bring to the table here. It's just a wide range of experiences.
Well, I graduated from Texas Tech, got my bachelor's and master's there. Awakening for me, growing up as a military kid and also an inner city kid, I got to travel all over the country. Got an opportunity to learn about people, got moved to foreign countries, Panama, Germany, got to learn from there, learn there. Same time, I got an opportunity, once I got out of college, like you said, to go to Allegheny College, where I met you, and we were roommates, and from there, and work with Ken O'Keefe and Joe Philbin. Little did we know that those guys would go on off to coach NFL football, and moved on from there to probably went to most. I coached over in the East, the West, the North, the South, the Southwest. I coached at Penn State with Coach Paterno, coached with Kirk Ferentz, coached with Hal Mummy. Worked with Tony Dungy twice, interned with him twice. Worked with trying to see Dennis Green. So I worked around with people and had a chance to work at about 6, 7 HBCUs. Been a head coach at Savannah State and Savannah State and Elizabeth City State. I was coach of the year, won the conference. And from there, worked at, from Division I, FBS to FCS to Division II to Division III. Like I said, worked in the NFL and even coached a year. I volunteered to coach a year or so in high school. So I've been to almost every level that there is. It's been
pretty cool. Pretty cool. I mean, so some great experiences. As far as in the Northeast as Maine, as far as in the Southwest as New Mexico State, right?
Yeah.
Both, pretty opposite corners there, that's for sure. And so I think you have a lot of experience and a wide-ranging different types of experiences. So I know you and I talked a little bit about during some of those experiences, you have also taught some classes. And I think one of the things you and I talked a little bit about was, trying to eliminate blind spots, whether you're younger, whether you're older, whether you're, a white guy my age, or whether it doesn't matter wherever you are in your journey.
White guy my age.
But just, for anybody, whether it's young, old, white, black, just eliminating blind spots can help all of us just, grow and be educated. And you talked a little bit about, some of your teaching experiences, some sociology, some sports sociology classes that sometimes maybe there's just some gaps and some important historical, things that have happened that can help people learn and grow.
It's been crazy because I say the Lord always puts you in certain positions to do certain things. Number one, when I was at Elizabeth City State, and I taught twice there, and it was crazy because I was a head coach, but they made us teach, and I thought I was going to come in there, teach a class or two, maybe teach throwing the ball around, physics. Right. These guys had me teaching some serious classes, and me teaching sports sociology, which we really had to dig down deep in sports sociology, had me teaching sports psychology. And as you get into those, dive into them, you're doing all types of history. Sure. This past year at Defiance College, I taught U.S. sports history, which our book was a pretty neat book that the book had. And it talked about all the different people that came to the country, how they came to the country, what sports they brought to the country, how through over the let's say for African Americans, over 400 years of when they were in slavery, and how the games they played, the games the Dutch played, the games the Germans played, et cetera, et cetera. So it was very interesting to see what sports came from where, or what just simple, from swimming to so on. Um, so it was a neat experience to
Sure.
pick that up and be a part of the educating the people. And we talk about, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but I laugh. I had to tease my class from the fall because one of the jobs I was teaching, what is it? It was teaching events and sports management facilities.
Mm-hmm.
One of the situations was, I said, okay, when they were doing their final, I said, you must know if there's type of, it's just not the pulling the fire alarm type of emergency. What if some weird disease came into your arena or some terrorist put something in your arena? And everybody was like, oh no, coach, that would never happen. And next thing you know, in the spring, we're going dealing with the coronavirus and watch the basketball team have to leave.
Crazy.
And so we're pretty close knit. So I made sure that my semester, the kids from the fall said, "Hey, remember what Coach Wilson said, you better be prepared." And then
Right.
the same thing, which we were studying about Benjamin Franklin. And
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin Franklin was an advocate of swimming because it
Mm-hmm.
was dealing with hygiene.
Sure.
And we were talking about that, and then next thing you know, here comes the virus. And
Everybody's being
then I,
a lot more aware of hygiene now. That's for sure. Huh? That's good.
oh, definitely, oh,
Hmm.
definitely.
What about one of the things you and I were also talking about was just the idea of you know appreciating the differences. Certainly over time, like you and I were room together, and we realized we had some differences. But we also had some things that were similar, and usually as relationships grow, what you see is somebody can recognize what you have in common, but also appreciate those differences. How about just as you think about some of the different experiences you've had over the time, can you think of any times where you saw how that helps people come together? Just their ability to accept and embrace the things that were different as opposed to just focus on those in a negative light. Does anything come to mind there?
I think that differences are great. I think that you get to know each other. It started, I think, with I had a roommate in college, and he's now a biomedical engineer. And I actually talked to him about becoming a biomedical engineer, what he needed to do, because that's what I thought I was going to be. I
Mhm.
never could foresee myself being a coach after my mother had told me I was going to be one. But, he was from Salt Lake City, Utah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about him and Dr. Mark Thompson. And I think about that when you talk about that and how we were from two different parts of the world,
Mm-hmm.
or I say world, but country. I'm
Sure.
from a city kid from Baltimore, and his kid's from Salt Lake City, Utah. And I just think about that and how I help influence him, and he helped
Mm-hmm.
influence me to see people in a different light. I think about even you and I, what we used to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And you played at Mount Union, and you came over there to Allegheny, and you know we just started talking, and you had a certain way of doing things, and you had to find the out Ken O'Keefe way. We all
Sure.
had to learn that.
Well,
But
yeah, we had
I
to.
think about how we used to just sit up and talk. We
Yeah.
all used to sit up and talk and get to know each other. And I didn't know that I was really influencing you, but you influenced me.
Yeah.
Think about Paul. I know Paul Sullivan, and
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and how we became a family, and some of the other
Yeah.
guys became a family, and that was unique to me. And
Sure. What it usually
was same thing. So it was neat.
yeah, well, it seems like as you and I get older, we're both old enough now to be grandfathers, both of us. So that's hard to believe, right? Like on,
Hard to believe.
but you think about the those different opportunities we both have had over time, and the people that have influenced us. It seems like it starts by just a relationship where it is two ways, where you do listen, and you just find that you tend to kind of see, yes, what you do have in common, but also you really embrace what you do have that's different, and see how that can just really open up your perspective and just can help educate you and just make you a better person, and professionally and personally, I think is what we're trying to hopefully do.
And that's college, for us, and we're talking about college students, that's what college is all about.
Yeah.
You don't come in here blind, and it's one thing to get to training with the
Yeah.
book. There's also that you're in this thing, and I used to tell my team, you're in this thing to be a manager, to be a leader,
Yeah.
to be that guy that or to be an owner or something. And
Mhm.
you got the main thing that we know is communication and working with people, accepting differences, and how to get the best out of a person.
Right.
And so, therefore, when you go into your training your relationships are very important
Hmm.
because now I understand what Dean is all about. Dean understands what Ernest is all about. Uh, we got no history.
Yeah.
You've always been taught this, and no matter what school you went to, that if you don't know your history, you won't know
Yeah.
your future. You're
Right.
going to repeat the same problems over and over.
Sure.
And I see what has happened. It's going to be interesting to see how all this comes about.
Hmm.
Because what type of history do we understand as African Americans? What
Right.
type of history do we understand as the predominantly white section?
Yeah.
What type of history do you understand?
Right.
Because if you don't understand it, you're gonna repeat the same problems.
Right. No doubt.
That's what I really worry about. Are we getting the proper? We
Right.
see things on television,
Yeah.
but do we not really understand what's going on?
Right. To make sure that we learn from it and that they aren't repeated again. And that's the thing that I think probably you and I, as we get older, we have our children, we have grandchildren, we have players that we're coaching that are kind of right in between that age. And I think I know from knowing you and where your heart comes from, I think one reason why you wanted to talk about some of this is we both just want to see progress. We want to see a better place for our children and a better opportunities for everyone to come together and all different races and different backgrounds, because that makes, I think, it follows through with what we're supposed to be, what the United States is supposed to be, and what we hopefully can work towards. But any closing thoughts? Anything else before, because you and I could go for a long time right here, and we could keep going on and on. But any other closing thoughts that you want to maybe kind of wrap up with?
I think it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got to understand, like I said, we got to understand our history.
Yeah.
We got to understand, as the African American youth, got to understand their history, what has actually happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, many of them are dealing with what happened to them last 15 maybe years, or as they start to grow up, but they didn't realize that this has been going on for a long time.
Right.
They didn't. Many of them just think it's Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. They don't understand what's happened after with the Jim Crow. They didn't understand what happened throughout the guys coming in. We talk about the flag, and they fought in World War I also. African Americans, they fought in the Korean War. What happened? I talked to my dad, it's a Vietnam vet. He said when Colin Kaepernick and he started kneeling, he said, "Hey, I fought 3 tours in Vietnam. This is why we fought."
Right.
To give you an opportunity. And then when you listen to what the young man said that told Colin Kaepernick to kneel, I said, cool.
Right. Kneel instead of sit. We initially, the first week, we sat, yeah.
Yeah. And then, I look at other things that's going on in this world. I just don't want to happen, and I know I'm 55 now, but I don't want to happen is people and you say listen and learn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want people to be fake and just make it this is politically what we have to say. This is politically what we have to do.
Right.
I want people to be able to apply it and apply it with their heart, because they don't want to see the wrong thing happen in the future.
Well, I know you're I appreciate you sharing that, and I think that I know you're very sincere about that, very genuine about that, and let's keep working on that together, doing our part. I guess that's all we can do is be committed to doing our part. But I think that's a challenge. If I'm here, if I know Ernest J. Wilson, that's a challenge right there. To anybody who hears this is don't be fake, follow through with it. If it is something that's important to you, follow through with it. And I can tell you, I will listen to that, and I will remember that.
All right, brother.
All right, man. Appreciate you, buddy.
All right.
I'm gonna turn that off right there if I can figure out where that switch went. Oh, there.